excellent entrepreneurs like Ye Xiaoyu and to reward performers like Lin Feng. The banquet was held at a 5-star hotel next to the auditorium. Because it was a banquet, there was no need to control the number of attendees like watching a performance in the auditorium. However, even so, apart from the entrepreneurs and performers who attended the party, all other people had to have an invitation to enter. Lin Feng was attending such a banquet for the first time, so at the beginning of the banquet, he just sat in his seat and didn't move. Lin Feng really wasn't used to drinking alcohol, so he just ordered a glass of water and sat there. Looking around, there were already hundreds of people in the large hotel lobby. These people were dressed very luxuriously, holding up their glasses and chatting and laughing with each other. Several attendants moved through the crowd, thoughtfully providing various services. Lin Feng could clearly see at this time that the big entrepreneurs seemed a bit out of place with the others. Because some big entrepreneurs were all huddled in a circle, talking among themselves, and were quite cold to others who greeted them. Sure enough, what kind of people talk to what kind of people, these are all categorized by status, Lin Feng thought to himself. For example, the family members of these big entrepreneurs moved through the lobby, chatting with actors and some company executives, or even chairmen. But for top-tier entrepreneurs like Ye Xiaoyu, they somewhat disdain these so-called celebrity actors. Lin Feng, can you sign an autograph for me? Lin Feng was deep in thought, when a very pleasant voice suddenly rang out beside him. He looked up to see a very cute girl looking at him nervously and asking softly. Of course, yes, Lin Feng said with a smile, then took the paper and pen from the girl and wrote his name. Then can I take another picture with you? After receiving Lin Feng's autograph, she was about to leave, but stopped after a few steps and looked at Lin Feng asking. Yes, Lin Feng said, standing up. When the girl heard Lin Feng say yes, her calves jumped with excitement. She quickly took out her phone, posed in a very ambiguous way with Lin Feng, and snapped several photos. Thank you so much, Lin Feng da, I'm your loyal fan. After putting away her phone, the girl quickly bowed to Lin Feng and then hurried away. Where there is a first, there will be a second. With his current popularity, it can truly be said that wherever he goes in the land of China, he has his fans. And so, the idea of just sitting there quietly and being a handsome man was dashed. It seems our great singer is truly famous, he has so many fans even here. After all the photo taking and autograph signing were done, Ye Xiaoyu came and sat beside Lin Feng, saying softly. And soon, as more and more people gathered, the area where Lin Feng was also became lively, which also attracted the attention of Ye Xiaoyu and other prominent entrepreneurs. Haha, it seems our great singer Lin Feng has many fans. An entrepreneur said with a smile at this time. Although he was smiling when he spoke, in his words, he still looked down on people like Lin Feng from the bottom of his heart. No choice after all, Lin Feng is currently the hottest singer. I heard that person, what was his name again, was also defeated by him. Another entrepreneur also said softly at this time. Perhaps so-called celebrities are unapproachable in the eyes of ordinary people, but in their eyes, they are no different from ordinary people, and sometimes even inferior to ordinary people. If these people were talking about other celebrities, perhaps Ye Xiaoyu wouldn't say anything, but now they were talking about Lin Feng, her nominal husband, then Ye Xiaoyu would not stand for it. She said softly, however, these celebrities do have aspects that we cannot compare to. For example, their celebrity effect is something we cannot match. She then pointed at Lin Feng and continued, Uncle Lai, you can try making Lin Feng the image spokesperson for your campus card. I think he will not disappoint you. Ha 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 ha, I heard that Mate Clothing, a brand under Ye Group, now has a rapidly increasing market share across the entire Huaxia market. Was it Lin Feng who endorsed it? An entrepreneur said to Ye Xiaoyu at this time. Yes, if there isn't good promotion, no matter how good your product is, if no one knows about it, it's like a piece of useless cloth. Ye Xiaoyu chuckled softly, then looked at the man who was talking to her and said with a smile, Uncle Lai, I heard your Yitang company launched a campus card specifically for students, right? How are the results? The man Ye Xiaoyu called Uncle Lai was no ordinary person. He was the chairman of Huaxia Yitang Company, a prominent figure throughout China. At this moment, Lai Hua heard this and shook his head helplessly, saying, President Yi, please don't make fun of me. I don't know what's going on. Those students, upon hearing about the discounts on my so-called campus card, all thought we were scammers. We've already spent hundreds of millions on advertising fees, but this campus card still hasn't been promoted. Now, this year alone, we've lost tens of millions just on this campus card. That's because your promotion method is wrong, Uncle Lai, Ye Xiaoyu said with a smile, then pointed at Lin Feng and continued, Uncle Lai, you can try making Lin Feng the image spokesperson for your campus card. I think he will not disappoint you. Just him a singer? He can help me out of this predicament? Lai Hua looked at Ye Xiaoyu, then turned to look at Lin Feng, a hint of disdain appearing at the corner of his mouth. I say, President Yi, when did you start caring so much about these so-called celebrities? President Yi, President Lai? What are you two chatting about? Ye Xiaoyu and Li Hu, as conversation also attracted the attention of those nearby. Someone asked softly at this moment. Then Li Hua recounted what he and Ye Xiaoyu had just discussed to that person. President Lai, on this matter I, Old Jin, stand with you. Little Yi, how about we two make a bet? The man's name was Jin Kang, and he was the founder of the Huaxia Jin Kang brand. And the Jin Kang brand, in the mobile phone industry, was an excellent domestic brand, with annual net profits of several billion or even tens of billions. So, you two uncles want to make a bet with me, little Yi? Ye Xiaoyu said with a smile, looking at Lai Hua and Jin Kang at this moment. If you, little Yi, don't think we two are bullying you, then of course, we can make a bet, Lai Hua said with a smile at this moment. All right then, Uncle Lai, here's the deal. I, Ye Xiaoyu, will help you out for free once. You give me the promotional budget for your campus card for next year, and I'll invite Lin Feng to endorse it. Let's see if this Lin Feng, who you all think is nothing, truly has the ability to completely promote your campus card, Ye Xiaoyu said with a smile. So, what's the stake? Lai Hua asked with a smile, looking at Ye Xiaoyu at this moment. How about this? If I win, you pay me double the promotional fee for your campus card next year as my remuneration, Ye Xiaoyu said with a smile. According to what Lai Hua said earlier, their annual promotional fee for the campus card was about 100 million, so if it's double, that would be 200 million. This was a huge sum of money, of course, but for people like Ye Xiaoyu, whose net worth had long since reached tens or even hundreds of billions, this mere 200 million was just a small amount. Then little Yi, what if you lose? Jin Kang asked with a smile at this moment. Then I can't let you Uncle Lai suffer a loss. I, Ye Xiaoyu, will compensate Uncle Lai with double the promotional fee. How does that sound? Ye Xiaoyu said with a smile. All right, then I'll bet with you, little Yi, Lai Hua said with a smile, then turned to Jin Kang and asked with a smile, Old Jin, what about you? All right, then I'll play along with you and little Yi, Jin Kang said, nodding with a smile. And so, amidst laughter and conversation, this lavish bet of 400 million was thus finalized. It seems that our great singer Lin Feng's fame is truly growing. To have so many fans in this kind of setting is quite something. After Ye Xiaoyu and the others finalized their bet, Lin Feng had already finished signing autographs and taking photos, so Ye Xiaoyu came over and sat beside him, saying with a smile. It's just everyone being too kind, Lin Feng said, a little embarrassed. Because it was a banquet, he didn't need to dress too formally, so Ye Xiaoyu had changed into a very expensive dress. The crystal-colored sequins sparkled beautifully under the lights. Tell me, since you came to the capital, why didn't you call to let Xiao Tong and me know? Ye Xiaoyu asked. I was afraid you both were busy, Lin Feng said, then looked around and asked, Hey, where's Xiao Tong? Wasn't she with you? Xiao Tong said she doesn't like these kinds of events, so she made plans with some friends to go singing, Ye Xiaoyu said with a smile. Xiao Tong has friends in the capital? Lin Feng was a bit confused. Yes, Xiao Tong went to university in the capital. She has quite a few friends here. They had already made plans, but she's been busy helping me these past few days. Today, she finally finished her work, so she rushed off to meet up with them, Ye Xiaoyu explained. How about it? Is this your first time at such a banquet? Are you very unaccustomed to it? Ye Xiaoyu then asked. Yes, I always feel the atmosphere here is too stifling. It makes me a little uncomfortable, Lin Feng replied. If you're uncomfortable, then come out for a walk with me. With that, Ye Xiaoyu grabbed Xiao Fan's hand and left the banquet hall. Is it really okay for us to just run out like this? They arrived outside. It was almost midnight, and even in the capital, there weren't many pedestrians at night. What's not okay about it? Ye Xiaoyu said indifferently, then, as if remembering something, she asked Lin Feng, "Oh right, which hotel are you staying at?" Lin Feng thought for a moment and said, "It's the XXXX hotel." "Really? That's such a coincidence. Xiao Tong and I are staying there too. The air is nice tonight, and the hotel isn't far from here. Come on, let's go back together," Ye Xiaoyu said, turning to look at Lin Feng with a smile. "All right," Lin Feng agreed without a second thought. The two of them walked slowly along the streets of the capital, the street lights stretching their shadows long and slowly overlapping. "Oh right, there's something else I need your help with," Ye Xiaoyu said softly to Lin Feng as they walked, as if something had just occurred to her. "You're kidding, President Yi. You still need my help with something?" Lin Feng was puzzled then, as if realizing something. He quickly added, "I say, President Yi, personally, I think quality over quantity for songs. Your previous song, Sakura Grass, has already become incredibly popular, so there's no rush to release new music." Lin Feng was known to fear neither heaven nor earth. He never feared being framed, nor did he fear being squeezed out by his peers. He didn't even fear being provoked by Su Chen and half of the Chinese music scene. So, it was said that Lin Feng feared neither heaven nor earth. However, there was a second part to that saying. Lin Feng feared neither heaven nor earth. He only feared Ye Xiaoyu singing. Helping Ye Xiaoyu produce a single was not as simple as just recording. For Lin Feng, it was an ordeal. Yet, Ye Xiaoyu was tirelessly enthusiastic about it. After Sakura Grass became a huge hit, Ye Xiaoyu wanted Lin Feng to produce another song for her, but Lin Feng had always put her off with various excuses. Coupled with Ye Xiaoyu's busy work, the matter had eventually been dropped. And today, when Ye Xiaoyu asked Lin Feng for a favor, Lin Feng immediately thought of that matter. Consequently, a cold sweat instantly broke out. "It's like this." Then, Ye Xiaoyu recounted the entire story of how she made a bet with Lai Hua and Jin Kang, including the details of their bet, and the amount of money involved, without missing a single word. After listening, Lin Feng gasped, 400 million, for ordinary people, and not just ordinary people, even for some tycoons, this was an astronomical sum. But for Ye Xiaoyu and the others, it was just a simple bet. However, this Yitang company, this campus card, this reminded Lin Feng of a company from his previous life. It was said that the dynamic zone launched by that company had invited the then King Zhu as an endorser. King Zhu then wrote a theme song that almost drove its competitor into bankruptcy. "That's a small matter. I wonder how much President Yi's endorsement fee is this time?" Lin Feng asked, smiling as he looked at Ye Xiaoyu. "Naturally, it won't disappoint you," Ye Xiaoyu said with a smile. "Oh right, speaking of singing, it just reminded me, when are you going to produce another song for me?" Ye Xiaoyu asked at this moment. Lin Feng's cold sweat returned, and he quickly changed the subject. "The weather is nice today." "Whoa, what a big sun," Lin Feng said, quickening his pace. "Wait, Lin Feng, what do you mean? Is it that difficult to produce a song for me?" Ye Xiaoyu also reacted at this moment, quickening her pace and jogging to catch up with Lin Feng. But Ye Xiaoyu was wearing high heels, and without realizing it, she twisted her ankle. "Ouch!" Ye Xiaoyu cried out in pain and fell to the ground. Lin Feng saw Ye Xiaoyu fall and quickly ran to her side, asking with concern, "Are you okay?" He then began to rub Ye Xiaoyu's ankle. Ye Xiaoyu's face flushed, and she said softly, "Don't you know that a girl's ankle shouldn't be touched casually?" Lin Feng quickly withdrew his hand after hearing that. "Hey, when exactly are you going to produce a new song for me? You think my singing is bad?" "Not speaking means you're admitting it. Where is my singing bad? I've seen many people online say my songs are very good." Under the streetlights lining both sides of the road, Lin Feng carried Ye Xiaoyu on his back towards the hotel. Ye Xiaoyu, on Lin Feng's back, chattered incessantly. Eventually her cheeks flushed, and she gently rested her captivating face against Lin Feng's back. Early the next morning, Ye Xiaoyu and Ye Xiaotong left the capital and returned to the Magic City. Originally, Lin Feng also wanted to go back today, and his flight ticket was already booked. However, just as Lin Feng was about to board the plane, President Qin of Cool Cat called him, inviting him to dinner. Lin Feng greatly respected President Qin. When he was still an unknown, Qin Tian boldly signed a contract with Ye Xiaofen, allowing his songs to debut on the Kumao music platform. Moreover, every time Lin Feng released a new song, Qin Tian would mobilize the entire Cool Cat platform to promote him. Most importantly, when he was caught in rumors and slanders, President Qin steadfastly stood by his side. Therefore, Lin Feng held Qin Tian in high regard. That day, Lin Feng met Qin Tian for the first time. After having a meal at an upscale restaurant, Qin Tian invited Lin Feng to visit the Cool Cat Company. Finally, Lin Feng remembered that he still owed 2 songs to a female singer signed with Cool Cat. So that afternoon, he wrote, composed, and arranged 2 songs for Qin Tian to give to the female singer. Lin Feng's actions once again startled Qin Tian. Producing 2 songs in just half a day was truly something he had never witnessed before. In the evening, he had dinner with Qin Tian again. The next day, Lin Feng boarded a flight to the Magic City and returned. On the plane, after setting his phone to airplane mode, Lin Feng put on an eye mask and went to sleep. When he woke up, the plane had already landed smoothly at Hanqiao Airport. After getting off the plane, Lin Feng discreetly exited, wearing a mask and a hat. As soon as he got off, his phone rang. Who on earth is this? How can they time it so perfectly? I just got off the plane, and the call came right after. Lin Feng grumbled helplessly, slowly pulling his phone out of his pocket. When he saw the caller ID, he was startled. It was Ye Xiaoyu. Hey Xiaoyu, I didn't expect your news to be so well informed. I just got off the plane, and you're already calling, Lin Feng said with a slight smile, pressing the answer button and teasing Ye Xiaoyu on the other end. Hey brother-in-law, have you left the airport yet? Ye Xiaoyu's voice sounded unusually anxious, as if something significant had happened. Not yet, I just got off the plane and received your call, Lin Feng replied calmly, still smiling. What's wrong? You seem so anxious. Did something happen? Brother-in-law, you need to run quick. Almost all the reporters are waiting for you at the airport exit, Ye Xiaoyu said very quickly, his urgent tone making Lin Feng's heart tighten. Reporters? Lin Feng quickly looked around. All he saw were hurried passengers rushing to catch transport, no sign of any reporters, not even an enthusiastic fan. You can rest assured, there's not a single reporter here, Lin Feng said confidently, a smile on his face reassuring him. But as soon as he finished speaking, a piercing scream suddenly erupted. Look, it's Lin Feng. Lin Feng is right there. This shout was like a clap of thunder, piercing the sky and exploding among the crowd. In an instant, the seemingly ordinary passers-by, as if by magic, quickly shed their disguises. In the blink of an eye, these people transformed into reporters holding cameras, microphones, and other interview tools, surging forward like a tide, surrounding Lin Feng so tightly that he was completely trapped, unable to escape even if he had wings. Oh dear brother-in-law, I'm afraid I can't help you this time. You'll have to figure out how to get out of this yourself. Ye Xiaoyu shook his head gleefully on the other end of the phone, then hung up without hesitation. Hey Xiaoyu, don't hang up, Lin Feng shouted anxiously, but all he heard was the dial tone of a disconnected call. Ye Xiaoyu's actions were too fast, leaving him no chance to intervene. At this moment, Lin Feng was like a trapped beast in a hunter's snare, tightly surrounded by a group of watchful reporters, forming a solid circle. Breaking out was impossible. Even moving slightly became extremely difficult. I say, my dear brothers and sisters, can we please move aside first, so that other passengers can pass through smoothly? Otherwise, if we annoy others, and we all get beaten up, it won't be worth it. Faced with so many reporters, Lin Feng looked helpless, forcing a bitter smile as he tried to persuade them. The reporters exchanged glances. Although they felt Lin Feng's words made sense, not a single one moved, not even to create a narrow passage. The reason was simple. They were all afraid that if they relaxed even a little, Lin Feng would seize the opportunity to slip away. Thus, a circle formed with Lin Feng at its center. No matter which direction Lin Feng stepped, the circle would follow him closely, like a shadow. Lin Feng was burning with anxiety, racking his brains to escape amidst the chaos. However, the dense crowd of reporters in front of him was like an impenetrable wall, making him feel utterly trapped. This time, he truly understood what it meant to be a lamb thrown into a tiger's den. Just then, a reporter broke the silence and threw out a sharp question. Mr. Lin Feng, the night before last, around 11 o'clock, witnesses in the capital city captured photos of you and President Yi, the chairman of the Yi Group. From the photos, you two appeared intimate, and in the end, Mr. Lin, you were even seen carrying President Yi on your back. What is the nature of your relationship? Had you known each other before this? This sudden question hit Lin Feng like a heavy hammer. He felt dizzy, and his mind instantly went blank. Damn it, how on earth did they find out about this? Lin Feng cursed inwardly, his heart filled with bitter complaints. These reporters were simply omnipotent and incredibly resourceful. Mr. Lin Feng, was the Mate clothing brand's decision to invite you as its brand ambassador truly due to your special relationship with President Ye? As is well known, Mate clothing is one of the important business sectors under the Ye Group. At this moment, another reporter eagerly asked, his microphone practically poking into Lin Feng's throat. Immediately after, another reporter quickly interjected, Mr. Lin Feng, are you and President Ye in a romantic relationship? Before Lin Feng could catch his breath, a third reporter quickly shouted, Mr. Lin Feng, was your fortunate participation in the grand performance for the 70th anniversary of the victory in the War of Resistance, due to President Ye's strong support and influence behind the scenes? A fourth reporter unceremoniously pressed on, Mr. Lin Feng, why did you not return on yesterday's flight like President Ye? Is there some factor that needed to be deliberately avoided, such as to prevent unnecessary speculation or rumors? Finally, a fifth reporter, not to be outdone, continued to press, Mr. Lin Feng, could you please disclose when you and President Ye started dating, and approximately how long ago that was? Also, is your current soaring popularity due to President Ye secretly acting as a powerful promoter behind the scenes? Mr. Lin Feng. Mr. Lin Feng. The barrage of questions left Lin Feng somewhat stunned. His head was buzzing, and he had no idea how to answer. On the other side, Ye Xiaoyu's situation was far more terrifying than Lin Feng's. At this moment, Ye Xiaotong and Ye Xiaoyu were both sitting in their car, afraid to get out. Because the car was completely surrounded by reporters, who had besieged Ye Xiaoyu's car so tightly that not even a drop of water could get through. The most crucial thing was that these reporters looked as if they wanted to devour Ye Xiaoyu. I say sis, you and brother-in-law were too careless on your date. You're both famous now, so you need to watch out for paparazzi. Facing such a spectacle, Ye Xiaotong, far from being nervous, even teased Ye Xiaoyu, who was sitting in the back seat with a displeased expression. Isn't brother-in-law coming back today? I imagine his situation is probably similar to yours. You mischievous girl, at a time like this, you still have the heart to joke. Call the security department, and have them come down and chase all these reporters away. Ye Xiaoyu said to the gloating Ye Xiaotong, expressionless, while scrolling through her phone. The news on her phone was all about her and Lin Feng, and it even included a photo of the two of them. The photo was taken that night when she took Lin Feng from the banquet back to the hotel, a picture of them on the road. However, looking at the photo, apart from Lin Feng carrying her at the end, there were no other intimate pictures. How did these reporters manage to seize upon it and refuse to let go? Oh my God, Xiaoyu, I never thought I'd see your gossip in the news one day. Have you really fallen for your convenient husband? Invincible pretty girl asked in Ye Xiaoyu's sister group chat. Ha 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 ha, then this Lin Feng is truly charming. Even our cold and beautiful ice queen has been conquered. Xiaoyu, why don't you take this opportunity to turn the passive into active and just take Lin Feng? Sexy little Lolita also posted at this moment. No way, I'm still waiting for you to kick out your convenient husband so I can reclaim him as a little boyfriend, Queen Empress also said at this moment. Are you a slut who can't go a day without a man? You're trying to snatch Xiaoyu's husband? Are you even human? If you're really that desperate, go to an adult store and buy an electric one to play with yourself. Remember to send us a video when you're playing so we can see your slutty side. Invincible pretty girl replied at this moment. Does that even need to be said? Didn't she even sleep with your male god? Sexy little Lolita added fuel to the fire at this moment. But Xiaoyu, I think this Lin Feng is quite handsome, and he's so talented. To be honest, when I watched the live broadcast the night before last, seeing Lin Feng play and sing really made him look so handsome, I was even a little smitten. Alright, I'm not messing with you anymore Xiaoyu, I think this Lin Feng is pretty good. Although he had some dark history before people grow, I think this Lin Feng is barely good enough for you, but of course, that still depends on your feelings, Xiaoyu. After all, the four of them were good sisters who had grown up together. Although they often bickered and joked around, they were quite reliable when it mattered. Let's talk about this later, Ye Xiaoyu replied at this moment, then exited the group chat. After waiting for a while longer, the security guards from the security department finally all came down, and under the escort of the security guards, Ye Xiaoyu finally got out of the car and entered the group. The reporters originally wanted to follow them in, but they were blocked by the security guards outside. Ye Xiaoyu had left, and Ye Xiaotong, feeling that she was fine, slowly parked the car and unhurriedly got out. However, the moment she stepped out, she was surrounded by reporters. "Excuse me, are President Yi and Mr. Lin Feng really dating? How long have they been together?" Seeing that Ye Xiaoyu had already entered the company and that an interview was unlikely today, the reporters all shifted their attention to Ye Xiaotong. After all, as Ye Xiaoyu's personal assistant and secretary, Ye Xiaotong must know many things. To be honest, I'm being honest, when I saw this news today, I was also very surprised. How did they end up like this? I'm just a bystander right now, and I'm also waiting for you all to dig up even bigger gossip, Ye Xiaotong said with a smile to the many reporters. Ye Xiaotong, it's time for work. What are you still standing here for? Are you not going to do your job? Have all the documents I entrusted to you been handled? I think you don't want to work anymore, do you? The reporters wanted to ask more questions, but Ye Xiaoyu shouted loudly at Ye Xiaotong from the company entrance. "Everyone, I'm sorry. I don't know much about their relationship. I have to go to work. My boss is angry. You all should work hard. I'm still waiting for more gossip," Ye Xiaotong said, then turned away from the crowd of reporters and entered the company, walking side by side with Ye Xiaoyu. "You naughty girl, lately you've really been disrespecting me more and more. What? Do you want to usurp my power?" Ye Xiaoyu looked at the smiling Ye Xiaotong, her anger flaring, and lightly tapped Ye Xiaotong's head, speaking softly. "Sis, don't tap my head for no reason. I'm finding my memory isn't very good anymore. Before, I could remember brother-in-law's song lyrics in half an hour, now it takes over an hour," Ye Xiaotong said while rubbing her head. "That's because his lyrics are getting harder and harder. I'm not taking the blame for that," Ye Xiaoyu said. When the elevator arrived, the two of them got in. Since this elevator was exclusively for Ye Xiaoyu, there were only Ye Xiaoyu and Ye Xiaotong inside. "But seriously, sis, I never thought I'd one day be gossiping about you," Ye Xiaotong said with a laugh. Ye Xiaoyu. "No way. You're just going to abandon me here this late?" Lin Feng's eyes widened, staring at Ye Xiaofen, who was about to close the car door and drive away, shouting in disbelief. Ye Xiaofen rolled down the car window, a sly smile on his face. "Hee, brother-in-law, you should be thanking me profusely and treating me to a big meal for rescuing you from those wolf-like reporters. And now I've even brought you here safely. Shouldn't you be eternally grateful and thank me 1,000 times over?" After saying that, he even smugly raised an eyebrow at Lin Feng. Lin Feng looked helpless, responding with a wry smile. "All right, I owe you. I'll treat you to dinner, is that enough? But you can't really just leave me alone in this wilderness." However, Ye Xiaofen remained unmoved, still grinning as he explained, "Brother-in-law, think about it. In your current situation, both your company and your home are probably swarming with those ubiquitous reporters and paparazzi. But don't worry, this place is somewhere I specifically scouted out. It's absolutely safe and reliable. And just a few more streets away, you'll reach a lively snack street, so you definitely won't go hungry." With that, he stepped on the accelerator, and the car sped away, leaving Lin Feng standing alone, watching the receding taillights, feeling a wave of frustration. Ye Xiaofen, you little brat, wait for me," Lin Feng yelled at the top of his lungs, while hurrying to desperately chase the speeding car. But no matter how hard he tried, Ye Xiaofen, that guy, was like he had greased his feet. He vanished without a trace in a flash, not even leaving him a glimpse of the taillights. Lin Feng stopped, panting, staring blankly at the empty street, feeling like a complete idiot who had been abandoned. He scratched his head in annoyance, and just as he was about to turn and leave, he suddenly froze as if under a spell. The moment Lin Feng turned his head, his gaze was drawn to a figure not far away. The figure was slowly walking towards him, and by the faint light of the street lamp, Lin Feng gradually made out the person's face. It was Ye Xiaoyu. Ye Xiaoyu's steps were light, like a flower quietly blooming in the night, exuding a charming aura. She seemed not to notice Lin Feng's presence and continued walking forward. When she got closer to Lin Feng, she finally noticed something amiss, looked up, and immediately saw Lin Feng staring blankly at her from a short distance away. At this moment, the night had completely enveloped the city, as if draping it in a mysterious black veil. The dim yellow street lights, like a pair of gentle hands, softly stretched and intertwined the figures of Lin Feng and Ye Xiaoyu. "Why are you here too?" Ye Xiaoyu and Lin Feng spoke in unison, and as their voices fell, the air seemed to instantly solidify. At this moment, if you were to ask Lin Feng and Ye Xiaoyu who they least wanted to see, it would undoubtedly be each other. Although on the surface, they were nominally a married couple, in reality, they both knew very well that this marriage was merely to appease Ye Xiaoyu's parents. However, now that such a big scandal had broken out between them, the atmosphere instantly became incredibly awkward. Me? Ye Xiaoyu frowned slightly, asking in confusion. Immediately after, a bitter smile appeared on her lips, and she slowly parted them to say, "I was thrown here by Xiao Tong, that mischievous girl. She said that the residential area entrance is currently swarming with watchful paparazzi, and some audacious guys have even secretly snuck into the complex. There was nothing for it, so she told me to come here and wander around first, and she'd come pick me up after she confirmed those annoying paparazzi had left." After saying these words, Ye Xiaoyu let out a soft sigh as if relieved. Then, she raised her head, her gaze fixed on Lin Feng, and pressed, "What about you? Why are you here?" "Me? My experience is the same as yours. I was thrown here by Xiao Fan. As for Xiao Fan's explanation, it's exactly the same as Xiao Tong's explanation to you," Lin Feng said helplessly. At this point, Lin Feng and Ye Xiaoyu finally understood why they had met here. It turned out that this was all planned by Ye Xiaofan and Ye Xiao Tong. Just then, both Lin Feng and Ye Xiaoyu's phones rang. They took out their phones and saw that the messages were from Ye Xiao Tong and Ye Xiaofan. Ye Xiao Tong sent hers to Ye Xiaoyu, and Ye Xiaofan sent his to Lin Feng. Content of the messages was very simple, just 4 short words: "You're welcome." "Thank you? I'll thank your grandmother's leg." Lin Feng and Ye Xiaoyu secretly grumbled in their hearts at this moment. "Do you think what we're doing can really succeed?" In a place where Lin Feng and Ye Xiaoyu couldn't see them, Ye Xiao Tong and Ye Xiaofan watched Lin Feng and Ye Xiaoyu. Ye Xiao Tong asked softly, "Sister, you don't know my sister and my brother-in-law are both idiots. I've watched them for the past half-year dawdling like they're in an idle drama." As a bystander, "I feel quite sad," Ye Xiaofan said in a low voice at this moment. "Married first, then love? Interesting. Oh right, didn't you just open another film and television company? You could make a series about these two. I bet it would be a hit," Ye Xiao Tong said, even taking a bag of snacks from her purse, opening it, and eating it to herself. "My goodness, sister, you're really here to watch the show." Watching Ye Xiao Tong eat snacks while monitoring Lin Feng and Ye Xiaoyu, Ye Xiaofan couldn't help but complain. "Nonsense. Otherwise, why would I agree to such a request from you? You know your sister is my boss. After this is over, I don't know how she'll deal with me." Ye Xiao Tong rolled her eyes at Ye Xiaofan and said in a low voice, "Right, are you sure your brother-in-law is interested in your sister?" "Your brother-in-law is interested in your sister?" This sentence sounds awkward no matter how you say it, but at this moment, there's nothing wrong with it at all. "Of course, my sister is so beautiful and capable, which man wouldn't be moved by her? In my heart, my sister is the second most beautiful woman," Ye Xiaofan said seriously. "Oh, your sister is only the second most beautiful? Then, who's the most beautiful?" Ye Xiao Tong asked with some confusion. "Of course, it's my Xiao Yu," Ye Xiaofan said very seriously. "Who?" Ye Xiao Tong's eyes widened as she asked again. "Xiao Yu, the one who sings Sakura Grass. I swear I will find her," Ye Xiaofan said earnestly. "Then you do your best. I hope you still have such aspirations after you meet her in person," Ye Xiao Tong said with a smile. At 6 o'clock this morning, Ye Xiaofan woke up early. After washing up, Ye Xiaofan came to the dining table, scrolling through today's entertainment news. What the? However, as soon as he opened his phone, Ye Xiaofan saw the report about Ye Xiaoyu and Lin Feng, and these weren't just fabricated stories by reporters. There were intimate photos of the two, which seemed to confirm everything. Damn it, how did these two dogs hook up in the capital city? Now it's over, isn't it? They got caught by the paparazzi, now it's really fun. Ye Xiaofan sprang to his feet and paced back and forth by the dining table. After all, one was his older sister, and the other was his brother-in-law, these two being exposed. Wait a minute, one is my brother-in-law, and one is my older sister, so what if they were photographed in an intimate manner? Suddenly, Ye Xiaofan seemed to realize something, and he instantly became less nervous. In fact, he even thought this was an excellent opportunity, a perfect chance for his brother-in-law to successfully win over his older sister. Look at him being such a good younger brother, not a single flaw. But he definitely couldn't do this alone, so Ye Xiaofen needed a helper. Don't let it fool you that he and Ye Xiaoyu are biological siblings. Ye Xiaofen treats Ye Xiaoyu as his biological older sister, but Ye Xiaoyu treats Ye Xiaofen as a cousin. Although his biological older sister doesn't treat him as her biological younger brother, there is one person his biological older sister treats as her biological younger sister. Ye Xiaofen drank milk while dialing that person's phone number. "Hello, Sister Xiaotong, what are you doing?" The person Ye Xiaofen called was none other than Ye Xiaoyu's personal assistant and secretary. "What else could I be doing? I just finished getting ready. I'm about to go downstairs to buy some breakfast and then pick up your older sister for work." Ye Xiaotong said weakly, "I'm telling you, Xiaofan, your older sister is a real exploiter. She promised me 2 days off when we were in the capital city, but now not even half a day, and she's back to work the very next day. Please, Sister Xiaotong, that's not my older sister, that's your older sister. Look, she doesn't even treat me, her younger brother, as well as she treats you." Ye Xiaofen said helplessly. "By the way, why did you call me?" Placing the bought breakfast on her dining table, Ye Xiaotong went to the refrigerator, took out a carton of milk, and asked, "Sister, I have some exclusive gossip here, do you want to hear it?" Ye Xiaofen said with a smile. "Please, your older sister here is busy as hell every day, where do I have time to listen to your gossip?" Ye Xiaotong closed the refrigerator door, sat down at the dining table, and said in a low voice, "But you can tell me. If it's exciting enough, I might be willing to listen." And so Ye Xiaofen told Ye Xiaotong everything, how Ye Xiaoyu and Lin Feng faked their marriage to deceive their parents, and how, after spending time together, they seemed to develop feelings for each other. Ye Xiaotong listened dumbfounded, spilling milk all over the table. "Ah, Tilda." Realizing what happened, Ye Xiaotong immediately shrieked. "Sister, what's wrong?" "Nothing, my milk spilled." "Milk spilled? Marriage first then love? I'm telling you, Ye Xiaofen, your older sister is quite the player." Ye Xiaotong said with a smile after wiping up the spilled milk. "Don't you think we should eat this melon?" Ye Xiaofen asked. "Eat it, of course, we'll eat it. I really didn't expect there would be a day when we could eat your older sister's melon," Ye Xiaotong said with a laugh. Immediately, the two began chatting while eating breakfast. "Is that so? I knew it. Your older sister initially said she would leave the capital city after the party, so why did she suddenly change her mind? And she even gave me a night off, and she didn't even call me for the key card that was with me. Turns out she was on a date with your brother-in-law." Ye Xiaotong said with a sly smile, "Your older sister went on a date with your brother-in-law? Why does that sound so awkward coming from me? Now this matter has been photographed by the paparazzi, and today's entertainment headlines are all about them," Ye Xiaofen said with a laugh. "Is that so? I'll check it out when I have time. Speaking of which, our brother-in-law has had a lot of scandals lately. First, he was rumored to be with the heavenly Queen Zhang Xian, and now, look, just a few months later, he and my older sister were caught on a private date by the paparazzi. Oh dear, how many maple leaves will be heartbroken now?" Ye Xiaotong chatted with Ye Xiaofen while looking at today's entertainment news. "Sister, now that this adulterous couple has been exposed, shouldn't we give them a little push to let them live a shameless life as a matter of course?" Ye Xiaofen said with a mischievous tone. "I'm telling you, Ye Xiaofen, that's your older sister. How can you talk about your older sister like that?" Ye Xiaotong immediately started lecturing Ye Xiaofen, but the next moment, she changed her tone and said with a smile, "However, there's one thing you said that I strongly agree with. These two really are an adulterous couple. All right, I have a plan, but I can't implement it alone, so I'd like to ask Sister Xiaotong for your help," Ye Xiaofen said with a smile at this moment, and then he told Ye Xiaotong all of his ideas. Xiaofan, you really are a good younger brother to your older sister." "No, equally named Xiaofan, look at Zhang Xiaofen, the male protagonist in Zhu Zian written by your brother-in-law. Look at how honest and simple he was in the early stages. I'm telling you, you'd better change your name so you don't tarnish my male god," Ye Xiaotong said righteously at this moment. "Stop talking nonsense, sister, just tell me what you think of my idea," Ye Xiaofen said somewhat impatiently. I think it's worth a try." Ye Xiaotong thought for a moment, then nodded and said, "All right, I won't talk to you anymore. I still have to go to work. You write down your plan and send it to me later. I'll take a look when I have time to see if it's feasible. Ye Xiaoyu said after finishing her last sip of milk. All right then, I'll send it to you later. You absolutely must read it. The name of our plan is exposing this adulterous couple. Ye Xiaoyu said, then hung up the phone. We're just going to stay here all night? Ye Xiaoyu asked in a low voice, looking around. The place they were in was a small garden, where not many people came throughout the year. Only some young couples in love would secretly come here for a tryst, and some thrill-seeking couples would also come here to find excitement. As for what kind of excitement, everyone needs to imagine it for themselves. Since it was already December, it was quite cold at night. Here, put this on. Seeing Ye Xiaoyu shivering a little, Lin Feng took off his jacket and put it on her. What about you? Ye Xiaoyu asked Lin Feng. Me? What's a big guy like me afraid of? Lin Feng said with a smile. Xiaoyu, I'm really sorry about this. Because of me, you got caught up in this matter. The two of them sat on a stone bench in the park's pavilion, and after a long silence, Lin Feng slowly began to speak. You really did wrong by me this time. Ye Xiaoyu nodded and said softly. At that moment, Lin Feng was completely stunned. Why wasn't this following the script? Shouldn't the script be that he first apologized to Ye Xiaoyu, then Ye Xiaoyu waved her hand and said it wasn't entirely his fault, and then the matter would be over, confetti flying? But Ye Xiaoyu directly nodded and said very seriously that Lin Feng was indeed a bit unfair to her in this matter. This woman wasn't playing by the rules. So to apologize, shouldn't you help me produce another song? Ye Xiaoyu looked at the clearly bewildered Lin Feng and chuckled softly. Goodness, so this is what you were waiting for. Lin Feng laughed wryly. All right, when you have time, I can even produce an entire album for you. Okay, it's a deal then. Ye Xiaoyu readily agreed, and Lin Feng quickly slapped himself hard. An album has 11 songs. He was already close to collapsing just helping her produce one song. For 11 songs, wouldn't he suffer a lot? Isn't Xiaoyu, do you think Xiaoyu that big is that idol? What are these two talking about? They're chatting so happily? Ye Xiaoyu secretly watched Lin Feng and Ye Xiaoyu and asked Ye Xiaoyu softly. Who knows? If I knew, I would have put a bug on brother-in-law. Ye Xiaoyu squatted there and replied in a low voice. As for those entertainment gossip media, since things have come to this, then let's just go public. Ye Xiaoyu thought for a moment, then said to Lin Feng. Go public? Go public with what? Lin Feng asked, somewhat surprised. Of course, we're going public with our identities. Don't forget, we are legally married now, and in a little over a month, it will be 2 years since we got married, Ye Xiaoyu said softly. Of course, you are a celebrity now. If you think that going public with this matter will affect your future development, we can also keep it quiet. As for those gossip media, I naturally have ways to make them shut up. Lin Feng looked at Ye Xiaoyu, and Ye Xiaoyu also looked at Lin Feng at this moment. Xiaoyu, if you don't mind, I certainly don't care. Lin Feng wanted to say something more here, but the words got stuck in his throat. The sky had completely darkened, the sky was dim, even the moonlight was obscured. Fortunately, there was still some light shining around the pavilion, making the surroundings not so dim. Ye Xiaoyu sat there, at this moment recalling the chat in her sister's group chat this afternoon. Xiaoyu, actually, if you really have fallen for your convenient husband, you must take the initiative. You absolutely must seize the opportunity. Queen said. Are you kidding? Let our Xiaoyu take the initiative? Is that Lin Feng worthy? Sexy little Lolita also said, at this moment. Min, stop coming up with bad ideas. If you're really bored, go buy 2 caddies of cucumbers. Invincible pretty girl also replied at this time. I say, Shuang, do you know why the male god you secretly loved so much ended up sleeping with me? Queen said. Because you're a total flirt. Invincible pretty girl was filled with anger whenever this matter was mentioned. Because you always think you're girls and things like confessing love should be initiated by boys. Queen said. What do you mean by that? Ye Xiaoyu replied. Sigh, today I'm going to give you 3 little virgins a good lesson. Queen began to put on airs at this moment. Indeed, for things like love and confession, we girls shouldn't be too proactive, but you've forgotten one thing, and that is, this is just the ordinary person's view of love. What's wrong with that? Aren't we ordinary people? Of course not. Which of us 4 isn't a rich young lady, growing up with a silver spoon in our mouths? Would ordinary boys dare to confess to people like us? Queen asked. For a moment, Ye Xiaoyu and the others fell into contemplation. Although your business won't agree with my idea, this is reality. For example, Shuang's male god, he is just a child from an ordinary family. Facing a young lady like Shuang, even if he truly likes Shuang, the huge wealth gap makes him only able to shy away. Lin Feng is the same. Although Lin Feng has achieved quite a bit in his music now, he still shies away when facing an excellent girl like Xiaoyu. So Xiaoyu, even if Lin Feng truly likes you, he will definitely feel that he is not worthy of you, thinking that if he confesses to you, it would be like a toad wanting to eat a swan. After all that, isn't it just male pride at play? Sexy little Lolita said. This is not just pride, but something indescribable. Xiaoyu, do you really like that Lin Feng? Queen asked at this moment. I don't know, I just feel happy doing anything with him, and after not seeing him for a while, I miss him a little, Ye Xiaoyu replied. It's over then, you really like him, Queen said. Then does he like you? Sexy little Lolita asked. I feel like he also likes me a little. Ye Xiaoyu's cheeks were red as she typed this line. Xiaoyu, since you like him, and he also likes you, then you must take the initiative. Absolutely do not wait for Lin Feng to speak first, because if I'm not mistaken, this Lin Feng will definitely not confess to you first, even if it kills him. Oh, by the way, Lin Feng, do you still remember the contents of the contract we signed over a year ago? Ye Xiaoyu finally mustered up the courage to ask Lin Feng. You mean the contents of our marriage agreement? Of course I remember. Lin Feng nodded. The agreement stipulates that we are only in a contractual marriage, and although it has legal effect, we are only pretending to be husband and wife. Furthermore, if either of us finds their other half in life, or falls in love with someone, then according to the agreement, we can terminate the agreement anytime, anywhere, and divorce within 3 days. Lin Feng said softly to Ye Xiaoyu, not knowing why she was suddenly asking him this. Lin Feng, it's been 2 years. Have you met the person who makes your heart flutter? Ye Xiaoyu asked softly. Haste with Ye Xiaoyu's question, Lin Feng stammered. Had he met the person who made his heart flutter? Of course, he had, but he didn't know how to say it. In these 2 years, I have met the person who makes my heart flutter. Ye Xiaoyu stood up, took 2 steps forward, and said to Lin Feng. So, Xiaoyu, are you trying to terminate the agreement with me? At this moment, Lin Feng also stood up and asked Ye Xiaoyu very seriously. He originally wanted to call her Xiaoyu, but somehow the words changed to Xiaoyu when they reached his lips. No, I don't want to terminate this agreement. To Lin Feng's surprise, Ye Xiaoyu shook her head at him, saying she didn't want to terminate the agreement. Then why are you telling me all this? Lin Feng was instantly puzzled. The person who makes my heart flutter is no one else but you, Lin Feng. I like you. Ye Xiaoyu looked at Lin Feng and said softly. For a moment, Lin Feng felt his mind go blank, followed by a wave of oxygen deprivation. Xiaoyu, what did you say? Lin Feng was somewhat incredulous. He couldn't even believe his own mind. You didn't mishear, I like you. I don't know when it started, but every day I'm with you I feel incredibly happy. I think this is the feeling of a fluttering heart, Ye Xiaoyu said, taking 2 more steps forward, which made Lin Feng quickly retreat 2 steps. What does this mean? Why is brother-in-law retreating repeatedly? In a hidden corner, Ye Xiaofen asked in a low voice. Sister is confessing to brother-in-law and scared him, Ye Xiaotong said in a low voice at this moment. No, sister, how do you know? Ye Xiaofen asked, surprised. I just remembered, I can read lips, Ye Xiaotong said softly. Lip reading? When did you learn it? Ye Xiaofen was somewhat incredulous. Just now, I learned it online, Ye Xiaotong said impatiently. Sister, are you kidding me? You can learn it that fast? Ye Xiaofen said, somewhat surprised. No choice talent, Ye Xiaotong said nonchalantly. I don't believe it, sister, look at what I'm saying now. With that, Ye Xiaofen spoke a sentence without making a sound. Ye Xiaotong immediately slapped Ye Xiaofen on the back of his head. Sister, why are you hitting me? Ye Xiaofen rubbed the back of his head and asked. I'm your sister, why are you telling me such a dirty joke? Ye Xiaotong said, slapping him again. Holy cow, you really learned it. Ye Xiaofen was speechless. This is too ridiculous. Inside the pavilion, Ye Xiaoyu was approaching step by step, and Lin Feng had nowhere left to retreat. What's wrong? Am I that scary? Ye Xiaoyu asked. Of course not, Lin Feng quickly said. Or do you think I, as a girl, don't know how to be reserved, and that confessing to a guy like this is a bit inappropriate? Ye Xiaoyu continued to ask. Not that either. Then why? Theo Yi, look at your excellent family background, and you are so capable, the most famous female entrepreneur in Huaxia, and moreover, you are beautiful, kind-hearted, and approachable. To be honest, in my heart, you are perfect. But look at me, I'm just an ordinary person with average abilities and quite boring. It's already an honor for me to be your ordinary friend, how could I possibly hope for more? Lin Feng quickly said. It's just as Min Min said, Ye Xiaoyu thought to herself at this moment. Min Min, what if I confess to him and he still doesn't agree? Ye Xiaoyu asked. Simple then, just like this. Then do you like me? Ye Xiaoyu's body moved another step closer, almost pressing against Lin Feng. My status, how could I? Slap! A crisp slap landed heavily on Lin Feng's face. This startled both Ye Xiaofen and Ye Xiaotong. What's going on, did they break up? Ye Xiaofen was completely bewildered, and he poked Ye Xiaotong in front of him, asking. I say, sister, did they break up? Should we go out and mediate? Stop talking nonsense, they haven't broken up, your sister and brother-in-law are showing off their affection. Ye Xiaotong was currently on the front lines of the gossip, with no time to deal with Ye Xiaofen. This gossip is really exciting, much more thrilling than those TV dramas. Showing off affection? Have you ever seen a couple show affection by slapping each other? Aren't you taking me for a fool? Ye Xiaoyu said coldly, that answer is wrong, say it again. I am just an ordinary person, you are a star in the sky, for me, you are out of reach, so I. Slap! Another loud slap landed heavily on Lin Feng's face. Holy cow, another one, do we really not need to go out? Ye Xiaofen was getting a bit agitated. What would you go out for? They're just spreading dog food here. Sister, I have no grievances or enmities with you, so why do you repeatedly treat me like a fool for your amusement? Ye Xiaofen was somewhat speechless. No, say it again, Ye Xiaoyu said once more. I'm sorry, Xiaoyi. Slap! Another loud slap landed on Lin Feng's face. Say it again. However, at this moment, Lin Feng stepped forward and pulled Ye Xiaoyu into his arms, covering her lips with his own. Holy cow, that's sudden! Ye Xiaofen and Ye Xiaotong both gaped in surprise. Lin Feng's sudden action startled Ye Xiaoyu, who widened her eyes, then slowly closed them and embraced Lin Feng in a kiss. Let me reintroduce myself, miss. My name is Lin Feng, I like you very much, may I pursue you? After they separated, Lin Feng looked at Ye Xiaoyu and asked with a smile. Hello, let's reintroduce ourselves. My name is Lin Feng, a moderately famous singer. Miss Ye Xiaoyu, may I pursue you? Lin Feng said softly, a slight smile playing on his lips as he looked at Ye Xiaoyu. Ye Xiaoyu didn't say anything. She suddenly rushed forward and threw herself into Lin Feng's arms. The two of them began kissing passionately again. Ye Xiaotong and Ye Xiaofen, who were observing from the shadows, each pulled out their phones. Ye Xiaofen opened the camera function, while Ye Xiaotong opened the video recording function. At this point, some friends might ask, hey, it's so dark now, how could they possibly record clearly? To that I can only tell you 6 words, Chinese phones are awesome. Don't you think my brother-in-law has a screw loose? May I pursue you? Seriously, you're pursuing my sister, not my mom, Ye Xiaofen said while taking pictures. Hearing this, Ye Xiaotong was speechless and kicked him. Oh, why did you kick me? Ye Xiaofen was sent sprawling by Ye Xiaotong's kick. Of course, Lin Feng and Ye Xiaoyu heard the commotion caused by Ye Xiaofen. Lin Feng and Ye Xiaoyu quickly sprang apart, their faces both flushed. They looked in the direction of the sound and saw Ye Xiaofen sprawled on the ground. Xiaofan, what are you doing here? Who's that person next to you? Realizing that Ye Xiaofen had probably seen what they were just doing, Ye Xiaoyu lost her earlier decisiveness. At this moment, her face bright red, she hid behind Lin Feng. Lin Feng, seeing Xiaofan, was also speechless and said loudly. This idiot, Ye Xiaotong cursed under her breath, then walked out from behind the pile of fake rocks, rubbing the back of her head and smiling as she said, Brother-in-law, it's me. Ye Xiaotong? Seeing who it was, Lin Feng was even more speechless. He then looked at Ye Xiaotong and Ye Xiaofen and asked, what are you two doing, lurking there so suspiciously? Brother-in-law, what do you mean, lurking suspiciously? Isn't sister here? I just looked around your house and confirmed that the paparazzi had left, so I came to pick up my sister to take her home. Sure enough, women are adept at lying. That's right, brother-in-law, I also checked. I confirmed there were no paparazzi in your complex, so I also came to pick you up. But what a coincidence, I didn't expect you to be with my sister, Ye Xiaoyu quickly added. Don't you have a clue if it's a coincidence or not? Lin Feng said grumpily. Brother-in-law, what do you mean? You don't believe me? Ye Xiaoyu widened his eyes and looked at Lin Feng, saying, Sister Xiaotong and I really just ran into each other. We didn't know you two were here and we certainly didn't see you two. Ye Xiaotung quickly covered Ye Xiaofan's mouth and said with a smile, Sister, brother-in-law, I think it's getting late. Let's go home. All right, let's go home. Brother-in-law, let's go, I'll take you back. Ye Xiaofan, almost suffocated by Ye Xiaotong, finally managed to break free from her hand and quickly said to Lin Feng. Why are you so eager? Brother-in-law, you drive back with sister. Xiaofan, you take me. Ye Xiaofan wanted to say something else, but Ye Xiaotong grabbed his ear and dragged him away. They're gone, Lin Feng said softly to Ye Xiaoyu behind him after Ye Xiaofan and Ye Xiaotong had left. Really? Ye Xiaoyu poked her head out and looked left and right. Only after confirming that no one was around did she emerge from behind Lin Feng. Lin Feng smiled, let's go home. With that, the two walked out of the park pavilion hand in hand. Ye Xiaotong had parked her car by the roadside, so Lin Feng easily found it. Sister, brother-in-law, we're leaving first. Just then, Ye Xiaofan, with Ye Xiaotong, drove past Lin Feng and Ye Xiaoyu. Ye Xiaofan rolled down the car window and said to Lin Feng and Ye Xiaoyu. Then, as if he thought of something, Ye Xiaofan smiled mischievously at Ye Xiaoyu's sister. You were quite wild tonight. With that, he immediately stepped on the accelerator and sped away. Ye Xiaoyu was speechless, her beautiful face now as red as a ripe tomato. Looking at Ye Xiaoyu's expression, Lin Feng couldn't help but want to laugh, and Lin Feng's action was caught by Ye Xiaoyu. What are you laughing at? Hurry up and drive! Ye Xiaoyu glared fiercely at Lin Feng. Soon, the car started and disappeared into the night sky. Lin Feng drove Ye Xiaoyu home, and something quite funny happened along the way. Because neither Lin Feng nor Ye Xiaoyu were very familiar with the area, Lin Feng initially drove straight to the riverside. Fortunately, Ye Xiaoyu sensed that something was wrong. So, the two of them turned on the navigation and drove back. By the time they arrived home, it was already past 11 o'clock. After changing her shoes, Ye Xiaoyu turned around, and Lin Feng pulled her into his arms. Ye Xiaoyu gasped, but the next moment, her lips were once again sealed by Lin Feng's. The two of them kissed passionately in the living room, freely expressing their enthusiasm. At this moment, the timing, location, and people were all perfectly aligned. Just as the two were about to ignite the flames of passion, Ye Xiaoyu stopped Lin Feng's actions. I want to wait until we get married for that. Ye Xiaoyu's voice was as soft as a mosquito's. But aren't we already married? Lin Feng said with a slight smile. That doesn't count. I want to wait until our wedding day, Ye Xiaoyu said, a little embarrassed. All right, I respect your wishes, Lin Feng nodded slightly, then got up from Ye Xiaoyu's body. You're not mad, are you? Ye Xiaoyu looked at Lin Feng and asked. Of course not, Lin Feng smiled and said softly to Ye Xiaoyu. The two then went to shower separately. At this point, Lin Feng had a question. Were they going to sleep in separate rooms now, or together? In the end, Ye Xiaoyu decided they would still sleep together. Why? Because Ye Xiaoyu was afraid that if they slept together, Lin Feng wouldn't be able to control himself, or rather, she wouldn't be able to control herself. That night, Ye Xiaoyu told her sisters what had happened today, and suddenly, the sisters' group chat exploded. How was it? I'll just ask you one thing. Are you convinced? Are you convinced? Her Majesty the Queen immediately started to show off. What did he say? Invincible pretty girl asked at this moment. Then he kissed me, Ye Xiaoyu replied. Oh wow, that's great, that's great. Was it a forced kiss? When he kissed you, did he caress your hair or kiss your neck? Her Majesty the Queen asked excitedly. Min, shut up, do you think everyone is like you? Sexy little Lolita scolded. And then, after he kissed you? Then he asked if he could pursue me? Ye Xiaoyu couldn't help but feel excited thinking about this. How did you answer? invincible pretty girl asked again. Then I kissed him too, Ye Xiaoyu replied, even savoring the memory of their passionate kiss. Xiaoyu, how did you become so passionate? It seems that Xiaoyu, known as the Ice Beauty, ultimately couldn't resist loneliness.